Okay, so firstly, well, welcome, Charlie. Thanks for allowing me to have this interview with you. How are you?
Good, good. I'm doing good. Thank you. And you?
I'm doing great. So you just finished your F3 season. I know that it's been a tough adaptation for you, but I mean, you won the UAE F4 not too long ago, so there's clearly a good driver inside you. What happened? What was the problems in F3?
Well, this is the first since I won UAE 4 in 2022, and in 2023 I won the from Formula Regional Oceania Championship. So it's the first year that I don't win a championship. But in the end, I think the most important this year was the plan always was to do 2 years in Formula 3 and have this year as a learning year, and then next year go for title attack, let's call it. Um, so if we consider that, I think the year was successful in a way, obviously not the way I wanted it to go, but still we did what we needed to do, which was learn the tracks, learn the championship, and get a feel for the car, how it behaves with DRS and racing with a lot more tire deg, and DRS is quite different to what I was used to before. And yeah, I think it's a frustrating season because things didn't really go our way. I think we had some moments where we really showed good pace, and already from the first test last year in September, the first day we were already in the top 10, I think around P8, and we were always quick, and we just didn't get to show it this year. But I think I know what I can do as a driver, and I know I have the talent to be racing those guys at the front, because a lot of those names I was racing and beating quite a few times before. So I'm not afraid of the competition, and I think for next year I'm ready to give them a run for their money.
What is the most valuable lesson that you've learned this year?
I think in Formula 3 you have to be so explosive, because it's in free practice. For example, in Barcelona we had 1 lap of free practice, like 1 lap, and normally you get 2, maximum 3 laps in free practice, which is very different to what I'm used to. And I think learning that and that style of driving is, you have to do a lot of preparation before the weekends, a lot of simulator work, a lot of analysis on previous, races from previous years. And I think you just have to so much preparation, and then you only get 1 or 2 laps to prepare for qualifying. And that explosivity is I think something that I learned and I improved throughout the year. And I think that's very valuable also for next year. Being in a second year in Formula 3, just having that experience will help.
And I don't know if there's a huge difference between F4 and F3, but are the work shift, to call it some way, different?
Excuse me?
Are the work shift, like the hours you work a day, are they different in some way?
Well, I mean, a normal day in F4 is many more laps, I would say. Yeah, in a free practice day on a race weekend, you get 2 sessions, so I don't know, 30, 40 laps sometimes. So it's a lot more driving and maybe a bit less in-depth analysis. But in the end, we have to arrive. The days are very long in Formula 3 for how little we drive. We arrive, let's say, 6:30 in the morning, and then we leave the track at, again, 6 p.m. So it's 12-hour days. And just a lot of analysis and just really making sure getting all the preparation done, so there's no in your mind, you just have it really clear on what you have to do, and no questions, in the air while you're performing. And in Formula 4, you have, a bit more just driving. So you just go a bit more by feeling. Of course, you do a data analysis and all of that, but in the end, you get so many laps that if you're at 98% the first lap, it's not the biggest problem, because anyway, the tires don't go away. So I think it's a lot more work off the track in Formula 3 in a day than it is in Formula 4, but the work hours are quite similar.
And we've seen that you've bonded pretty well despite the tough year with Matias Zagaceta. You were with Mallorca with him a few days ago, I think yesterday, you told me. So how has he helped you and how have you helped him during this?
Yeah, this year I've had two cool teammates. I had Max Esterson and Matthias Zagazeta, and yeah, we had a good relationship together. You know, some jokes like always with teammates. So you know, it's not always you have great relationships with your teammates, but well, this year was cool, and we got along well, and you know, then we managed to train together, improve ourselves, and in the end, as a team, you always have a competition in the team, but if everyone on the team is if at the front, if you can help each other to all be at the front, it's better than, you know, fight against each other for maybe P15 or something. So we just try to push each other to improve ourselves and make sure that we try to get further up in the field. So I think it was a really fun time we had together, and hopefully I'll see them on the track next year as well.
You were talking about next year quite a lot. You said about a second year in F3, but the thing is that Jenzer, they will stop operating in F3. What are your plans for next year?
Well, unfortunately, I can't announce my plans for next year, but no, it looks quite exciting. I think I can't say too much, but no, I'm happy for next year, and yeah, like I said, the plan was always to do 2 years in Formula 3, and no, like next year it's looking good for what team I will race with, I think, and then yeah, I think let's see how it goes, but I'm looking very much forward to next year. My focus is already on training for next year and getting as prepared as possible to be able to fight for the title.
We'll have a close look on which team you drive. And now that season just ended and you have a few months of holidays and I suppose pre-season, how's a pre-season for an F3 driver?
So now it's a bit tricky because you don't get so much driving in Formula 3. So we have 2 postseason tests, so that's 4 days. Then you have a long break where you can do some GP3 testing or some cars, but it's quite reduced since the FIA limits the amount of days you can test in the end. And then next year we only have, I think, 1 test before we go to the first round which will be Melbourne. So will be quite different, I think, to the previous years with having a 3-day test in Bahrain and then the race weekend. So definitely the preparation will be different. But yeah, on my side, just training as much as possible. Also on the sim, I think the sim now is more important than ever. With so little running in Formula 3, you just have to get a lot of sim work done. And I enjoy doing the sim, so I do it for fun as well. I might not always drive Formula 3 or something like that. I'll drive rallycross or GT or just all kinds of stuff, but it also helps as a driver just to be driving something. And then, yeah, also, I guess, some ice driving as well. Stuff like this, just a lot of training. And because you can't get so much time in the Formula 3 car, you need to replace it somehow. And just driving as many things as possible, even on the sim, is, I think, quite vital to be sharp and stay in the game over the winter.
And in which aspects would you like to improve your driving?
I think in quali, I want to make sure that I've been working on that this year. The quali performance, I just want to make sure that I can always do the lap when I need to, when the pressure is on. Just make sure that I can always extract the lap, like a strong 100% lap with no mistakes. It's always difficult with not much running, but I think I've made some steps this year, and then my lap's been getting better and better in quali. Fewer and fewer mistakes, so I think that's the main target. So I think the race pace is generally good, and the racing as well. So the main focus is to get good qualies, and in Formula 3 that's important to be, even on a bad weekend, try to be in the top 12 if you can. If you're in the top 12, then you have the reverse grid, so you can always make it up by maybe finishing on the podium or something in the reverse grid. And I think that's was one of my weaknesses this year, I would say. But I made some progress over the year, so that's the main focus for the test, is just trying to improve that. And also on the sim, I can practice that by just doing laps and try to perfect it, and just to reach perfection, perfection is never possible. There's always something to improve, but the main goal is to get as close as possible.
And now, as you're obviously a driver, you are one of these people authorized to speak. What do you think about the F1 Championship?
F1?
Yeah. What do you think about how it's going this year?
I think this year is one of the most interesting years I've seen, for sure, because there's so many storylines. Like, Leclerc, he won in Monaco, he won in Monza, which is for him is very cool, and also for the fans as well. And then just so many different winners, so many different teams now fighting for the championship. So for me, I think it's one of the most exciting years that I've seen. And as a fan, like for myself, it's also really cool. So I always tune in to watch the races because something's always happening and it's exciting. And now Red Bull's on a bit of a low, so there's a chance that McLaren can fight for the constructors' title, and even potentially Norris could beat Max in the championship. So a lot of different storylines, and it's always really exciting to tune in, because now you go into a quali and it's always so close. You have no idea who's going to be on pole. And in Monza, I think it was 6 cars and 2 tenths. So that's just super exciting, for drivers at that level to be so close. It's really cool, and it's always really fun to watch.
And who are you backing in the title fight?
I don't, to be honest, I don't really support any driver individually. Or any team for that matter. I'm there to, enjoy the entertainment, but I don't support anyone specifically, to be honest.
And now moving on a little bit to more Charlie Wurz, the person rather than driver. Do you have any idols, just inside or outside racing?
Well, not too much. I'm not one of those drivers that has a massive idol. I obviously look up to drivers like, Senna, Lauda, drivers like that, or Schumacher, or now Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, a lot of good drivers, and I look up to their qualities. Everyone has their unique qualities and great drivers, and I try to aspire to be like them, but I don't look up to one driver specifically. Or in other sports, there's also lots of athletes that I like, and I would like to be like them one day, but no, I don't look up to anyone individually, to be honest, just everyone. And aim to train like them, and be as strong mentally as them, and hopefully one day perform like them.
How has your family influenced your career?
Yeah, I mean, my family is a big motorsport family. So my great-grandfather was already involved in motorsports. My grandfather was a 3-time European rallycross champion, and my dad was obviously F1 driver. So it's in the blood, and it's basically all we talk about all the time. Difficult. Always at some point during, let's say, dinner or something, we'll speak about racing, and it's difficult to escape it. And my younger brother's also racing. So he's racing in Formula 4 at the moment. And the family is just super involved in motorsport. My mom travels to all the races with my brother, and sometimes to my races. So in the end, our family, we love motorsport, and it's what fuels us. And that's, in the end, I didn't get involved into motorsport because my dad was pushing me. It's because I wanted to do it. He let me do whatever I wanted. So I was quite into athletics, like running, cross-country running before. And then I tried karting for the first time at 8, and I loved it. And I kept begging him to do a bit more driving and a bit more. And then after I started racing, and I loved it. So it's just in the blood. And since I've been 8 years old, I've loved racing. So Yeah, it's just part of the family in the end.
Do you feel kind of like a role model towards Oscar?
I don't think so. Doesn't always listen to my advice, but I try to coach a bit, help him out, and he does the same with me. So I also don't like too much when he gives me advice, but I think it's quite normal with brothers. You act like you don't really care what they say, but then you always listen and you take it in. So yeah, it's always nice. I need to go to a few more races of his just to see what it's like, how he works. But it's great to have a brother, and then we also push each other on the sim. I'll wake up one day and I'll see he beat my time by 2/10 or something, so then I'll go again and I'll beat his time, and we just keep pushing each other. So it's good fun, and also training as well on the bike or running. We're always pushing each other, so I think that's really good.
Right now, he's in a championship fight in category in Czech F4. What advice would you give to him, even if he doesn't listen to it?
Well, I think he just needs to do what he's been doing, because he's been doing a good job. He's always been at the front, so I think he has this race weekend and one more to go in Salzburg Ring, and in the end, I think he's performing very good, and all he has to do is do the same he's been doing, and doesn't need to change anything or invent something new. Just has to do like he's been doing, and he has the confidence, he has the speed. So I think I would just say keep doing what you're doing, and don't change anything. Just focus on doing your best, and I think that's enough for me because he has a good lead in the championship, doesn't need to invent anything new, just has to do the job, and then it'll be good.
And talking about advice, what's the most valuable piece of advice you've ever received?
It's a big question, but in the end, for me, my dad, when he's at the racetrack or even when he's not, he's always there to help me. He has so many years of experience, and I always can fall back on him if I'm having any trouble with the car or how to explain something to the team with any feedback or anything. So it's always great to have him there at the track, or even off track. I can always call him. No matter what time it is, he'll answer the phone. Even if he's in America and it's 4 a.m., he'll answer the phone and help me with whatever I need. So he's always there to give me advice and help me. So I think that's probably the most valuable thing for me, is to have him by my side, and he's always involved. So I think that's really helpful. And just to have someone by my side like that is I think really good and really helpful for my career.
And now, one of my last questions: what are your hobbies?
So my hobbies are mainly, I think, cycling. I'm a big fan of cycling, and cycling and running for sure. Not most people don't love cardio, but I really love cardio. And ever since I'm young, even before racing, I was doing quite a few races in like cross country running. And now in summer I cycle more when it's good weather. In the winter, not so much. I do more running, so I mix it a bit. But especially cycling now. Right now, I just love it so much, and I think it's also keeps my mind away from racing. Sometimes, it's good training as well, but also it's something else, just a hobby, just to get the mind away from racing and on something else. So I think that's for sure one of my hobbies, and I'm starting to get into climbing as well. And that's also really, really good training for the upper body as well. So I did this cycling for the legs, upper body with the climbing, and just both of those I think are super fun sports, and helps to get your mind away from racing, and also train for the cars is also super good.
Do you listen to music while doing these activities? Because Oscar told me he doesn't at all. He doesn't really listen to much music.
Sometimes I think now a bit more when running, I listen to music, but sometimes it's also good to just feel the pain, because sometimes the music distracts you from like the pain on the bike, and always when I'm pushing hard, the music just annoys me, because I'm in pain and I hear the music and it just gets on my nerves. So for when I go for a relaxed run or a ride, I might listen to music. But when I'm really pushing, I'd rather just have no music and just be on the limits of and in pain. But I'd rather not have music because sometimes I get annoyed at the music and I can't. If I push a lot with one song, I will hate that song for like the next month because it reminds me of when I was pushing hard on the bike.
And just to conclude, Oscar told me that he had to really focus on academics. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, I mean, I just finished my school, so I finished my A levels, and so now I have no more school left. I won't go to university because I just focus on the racing, but it's obviously quite difficult to manage doing both. So I think I'm happy to have finished it in June last year, and then just be able to focus on training and racing. I think it's also good sometimes to have do a bit of learning of something. So, for example, for the schooling for me last year was, or at the beginning of this year, I found very interesting the maths and physics that I was doing. And that was just intriguing for me, like a hobby in the end, just to learn things and do something else, not always be just focusing on racing and training all the time. Otherwise, I think you can go a bit crazy sometimes. So, no, it's good to have something to have for your mind, to keep sharp in your head. If I'm just training now, I think I'll become a bit stupid maybe. But no, so I might do a bit of studying of something. But in the end, I finished school now, so a few months ago. So these past few months just has been racing and training. And then, maybe in September. Well, it is September. But in a few weeks, I'll start to learn something and maybe do a course or two, something like that.
Did your A levels go as predicted?
Yeah, they were good. I'm very happy with the results.
I'm glad. Well, that was all. Thanks, Charlie. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.